Hi, Waves families. Just wanted to cover a topic for something that we get quite a few questions about, and that is something called scratching. And scratching essentially means you're removing yourself from an event. We often get emails prior to a meet and parents asking, and we're grateful that your plans change or something comes up, and you ask if we can remove your swimmer from the meet or scratch them from the meet. Just so everybody's aware that once we send our entries into a team, they don't refund us for any events that we take away from the kids. It's just not how they do that, but we can still scratch the kids out of those events when we get there, which helps with making the meet shorter, and it helps the host club. They're not looking for kids that are not there that they think are going to be there. Another thing that happens is at check-in is the events, those will close at a certain time, and after that time anybody that's not checked in is scratched from the meet, that session for that day. And if you arrive after that, it's pretty tricky to get a swimmer back into the meet, so it's really important that you show up on time and check in your swimmers on time. Some other places that scratching happens are at prelims and finals meets, where they'll be in the morning prelims and a certain number of swimmers, usually it's top 16, return to swim in finals at night. Those meets have some special circumstances. They'll announce the results, and then swimmers have 30 minutes after they announce the results to scratch. Otherwise, they're seeded into the finals, and there can be penalties if a swimmer did not scratch and then they don't show up to finals. So that's a big no-no, and it's really important that that gets communicated. At championship meets, scratching is even more complicated. That's why coaches will handle that. So at a state championship meet, if a swimmer needs to remove themselves from an event, a coach has to fill out a scratch card by a certain time. It gets initialed by an official. We have to drop it in a box, and it all has to be done by a certain time. If they're not scratched in time, they get seeded into that event, and that swimmer then has to swim that event, or a coach can declare a false start, but it does count as one of their events at that point. So there's a lot of different variables when it comes to scratching. One thing we hear kids come out on deck sometimes and say, I'm going to scratch from that event. There's plenty of time before a meet for swimmers to pick and choose the events that they want to swim. And we would like kids to honor those requests that they make. We don't want to start creating a mindset where kids think they can just remove themselves from something. We want them to get prepared. That shows courage and growth in our program. And the same thing goes for prelims and finals swim meets. When you're signing up for a prelims and finals swim meet, to us, you're saying, I'm here to compete in prelims, and if I make it back to finals, I'm planning on participating. Our championship meets for club, except for 10 and unders, and your high school competitions at their championship meet levels are prelims and finals, so we purposefully put those on our schedule so kids can learn how to do that, because it is a skill that takes some time to develop and learn how to do. And if you're scratching yourself out of finals, you're doing yourself a disservice and not learning how to get yourself ready for those kinds of things. So that's how scratching works. If you have any questions, just ask one of your coaches. Thanks. Go Waves.